Hey, everybody. Welcome in the building. It is Tuesday night trending topics. I took last night off. I said, you know what? Let me take a little break. I need a little break. So I took a little break. I'm glad to see y'all in the building. If you here, do me a favor. Hit that like button, people. Hit the like button if you're in the building. So listen, guys. It's trending topics, and the title is called Shocking Confessions. Shocking Confessions. So Capricorn Clark, an ex-assistant of Diddy, took the stand today. And many that were in the building said that it was a slam dunk finally for the prosecution. I was not in the building, but I did read a testimony and I said, oh. She had a lot of, first of all, let me tell you something. I think a lot of these witnesses, they had pieces of the truth. They definitely had pieces of the truth, 100%. But a lot of them, I feel like they're leaving out pieces of the story where that story, those pieces might have us giving them the side eye. So Capricorn Clark talked about, her time with Diddy, overworked, underpaid. We found out, she did get a settlement from Diddy, but I feel like in the entertainment industry, that's what they do. When they do somebody wrong on the sideline, they do a settlement. And why am I saying that? Because we heard with this latest person that is suing Shannon Sharp, allegedly he had 20 other Sutton suits before that where he just paid the people off. Oh, you think I harmed you, I essayed you here? Just take a couple million, take a couple 100,000. Let me see what Ray J said real quick. He said, I'm sorry, but this Capricorn girl testimony just doesn't add up if you pay attention. So Kid Cudi made her face-to-face contact with Diddy and was chased through Hollywood Heights, yet never mentioned this. Ray J, listen, you on the train with me. That's why I'm saying that some of their stories, it has some truth in it, and then there's some lies. But they want a man to get convicted off of half truths. You still you call this man the devil, but up until 2020 something, you still calling this man trying to get a reference, a job, or whatever. If I was so fortunate enough to escape the devil, I'm not looking back. I don't need no reference from you. I don't need nothing from you. And all of them like, well, I got kids, I had a house, I had a car. You tell me the person in this world that's an adult that don't have a responsibility. They very fortunate if they don't. Do you know an adult that don't have a rent, a mortgage, a car note, a light bill, some kids? Should we all sell ourselves to the devil in the name of I got a bill to pay? I want to live a certain lifestyle? Well, Capricorn Clark was on the stand. She talked about kidnapping. She talked about the Kid Cudi day that the car and this and the house, and Diddy went to the house, and Diddy had a pow on his lap. Yeah, it went on and on. This is my assessment of the whole entire situation. The people in Diddy's orbit, in his world, they was all fighting for Diddy's attention to be number one in his world. All of them. And I think all of them in some way, shape, or form, they was either popping the pills, smoking the weed, or doing some type of drugs. All of them. Because your mind has got to be a little bit off. I'm starting to freeze. All right. After I bring the people in, thank you, Julius. I will hardwire in and see if that does me better. But, I think all of them were into the nonsense. They was into the shenanigans. They was Diddy bopping. All of them. Diddy bopping. Meaning drinking the alcohol and popping the pills. And it altered their state of mind. Their good sense went out the door. And they was just petty thieves and petty criminals. We're going to talk about it. Then Kevin Liles from Def Jam Records. He's being sued for some Diddy-like behavior. And I want to say her name is let me not mess up her name. Lady Luck. Lady Luck is suing him. It's similar to like the Diddy world. He said this chick was all the way up in my face, my family face. She called my mom, my dad. She talked to my sister. He said, listen, I feel sorry for her, but I ain't going to let her extort me out of no $30 million. He said, she needs help. He said, if you go back to all of her interviews, he said she, had a problem with the substances. So what are you going to do? So now he's fighting back and he put out this whole statement. And see, people forget about the interviews they do on social media, the stuff they post on their social media. She posts every time his birthday came around, she posts a picture with him and her talking about happy birthday. I love you. You the best. You introduced me to all kinds of people. I do see I'm kind of lagging and freezing up. I will hardwire in after I bring the people in the building. But, so we're going to talk about this Kevin Liles. And then we're going to talk about shout out to all the pet owners. Listen, it's enough of me taking care of myself. I love to see people and their pets, but I'm good. Ain't got time to be feeding no dog, taking no dog to the vet. Nah, I ain't got time. No. But this pit bull, the parents had a 1-month-old. They in the bed sleep. This according to them. The baby in the bed sleep in between the two of them. The pit bull gets in the bed and he mauls the baby face off. The baby didn't live. They didn't hear the baby screaming. They didn't hear this baby chomping on their. They didn't hear the baby, the dog chomping on their baby. And they in the bed with this is happening. I can already tell you what happened. Them parents were probably on something. And they probably laid that something around and the dog probably got a little something of that something. And the reason why they didn't hear their baby, because they was too knocked out to hear it. Now, baby is gone 1 month in this world. Baby's gone. The dog is now dead too, because they put the dog down, rightfully so. And the parents talking about, we don't know what happened. Baby didn't stand a chance. But listen, guys, shocking confessions. I got to bring the people on in the building. Y'all know what I need in the chat. I need a what, y'all? I need a choo-choo. Hold aboard, everybody. It is Tuesday night trending topics, and we got stuff to talk about. It's called Shocking Confessions. We got the Diddy trial drama. Capricorn Clark, she has spoken. She was nervous, and I get it. I would be nervous too. This is not an easy thing. Imagine you had a boss that you called the devil, terrorize you, you sued them, you won, and now you got to sit before them in the courtroom and testify. Kevin Liles and the baby that got more about a pit bull. Let me bring the people on in the building. All right, Lady Love, how you doing?
Hey, Diva. Hey, Channel. Hey, Pat. I mean, Chad.
Hey, Diva.
Hey, Wayne. Wayne, wait 1 second. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Give me a minute. Wayne, I got a hard wire in, but Wayne, hopefully I feel like I'm still lagging a little bit. I'm gonna try to hardwire in and hope that fix it. But Wayne, there's a message for you in the chat, in the private chat. Hey Julius.
Hey y'all, hit the like button.
Hit the like button, people. Hit the like button. So listen, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and get right into this first story. And then as I go around, I hope that y'all get to hear me without me breaking up. And as I go around, wait 1 second, y'all. As I go around, I'm going to try to hardwire in so I won't be, going in and out. Hey, Lauren. Hey, everybody out there. Thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. We might as well go ahead and get right into this Diddy story with this Capricorn Clark. Capricorn Clark testified today. Many people said finally the prosecution hit the nail on the head. I'm like, I don't know. I think this thing is weak overall so far, this case. If you ask me, but I'm not on the jury. I'm not going to be, debating this thing or whatever the case may be. So it's going to be up to these 12 jurors. So hold on, my screen everything is just being slow today. I don't know why, but we'll try to see if we can get into this. Okay, hold on, y'all. Let me try to present this screen again. And hold on 1 second. I think it's coming through finally. All right, let me see. So Diddy trial updates. Ex-assistant Capricorn Clark testifies. So Sean Diddy Combs' ex-assistant Capricorn Clark, who once repeatedly dubbed him the double, testified against the disgraced hip-hop mogul at his sex trafficking trial in Manhattan on Tuesday. Wait, I'm trying to add you. I don't know what's going on with the computer right now. There we go. Okay. Combs, 55, is accused of using his fame, fortune, and many businesses to run a racketeering scheme in which he controlled, manipulated ex-girlfriend Cassie for over a decade, using violence and threats, forcing her and others into drug-filled freak-offs, sex marathons that went on for days. He faces life in prison if convicted. The trial is not televised because cameras are prohibited in a federal courthouse, but we're there following all the actions, so watch this space for the latest updates. Let me just see. Trial wraps for the day after Diddy's ex-assistant finishes testimony. Sean Diddy Combs' former assistant Capricorn Clark finished testifying after spending the whole day on the witness stand. The trial ended for the day shortly after 3 p.m. and tomorrow with an officer with the Los Angeles Police Department is expected to testify first. Another alleged Combs victim who is testifying anonymously under the name Mia could take the witness stand as soon as tomorrow. Okay. This is not the one I wanted. Hold on 1 second. Let me stop this screen. And let me just share. I want to actually share her testimony. I'm sorry, my computer is really acting up today. Okay, I see the one I want. I'm going to try to share that one. Can y'all hear me? At least?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, so hopefully, let me try to share this article. Oh, this is bad today. Not nice. Okay, let me see. I'll start it, and then when it comes up, okay, here we go. Hopefully it'll share. All right, I'll just start it, and then if it shares, it shares. Oh, this thing is being bad today. So violent boss armed Diddy kidnapped me and broke into Kid Cudi's home to kill him before beating Cassie, weeping assistant says. The assistant testimony comes after rapper Kid Cudi testified against Combs. Sean Diddy Combs' former assistant has testified about the terrifying moment the armed music exec allegedly kidnapped her and broke into Kid Cudi's home in a jealous rage over his ex-girlfriend. Capricorn Clark, who worked for Combs on and off between 2004 and 2018, testified against her former boss and his violent and endurance demands that led her to develop stress-induced alopecia. That was her coming in. It was her again. That's Kid Cudi. The former assistant told the court that while employed at Combs' company, her life was threatened about 50 times. She said Combs, 55, threatened her during her first day on the job after finding out she previously worked at his rival Suge Knight Death Row Records. So, you know, if you got threatened the first day on the job, I just got a question for you in the chat. Why would you stay? The first day on the job, you said you got threatened. Why would you stay? Clark told prosecutors how Combs and her security guard took her for a walk in Central Park at night. What did Mr. Combs tell you in the park? The prosecutors asked Clark. That since I work for Suge Knight, if anything happened, he might have to kill me, she testified. And you continue to work there. During Clark's testimony, the former assistant told jurors about the time an armed Combs banged on her door and allegedly kidnapped her after he learned about Kid Cudi and Cassie Ventura's relationship in December 2011. And you know what? Shout out to Cassie. She had her baby boy today. Blessings, okay? That's wait a minute. Clark told the jury that Combs, she claimed Combs and his security guard engaged in a car chase with Cudi, born Scott Muscudi, after the rapper pulled up beside them in his black Porsche. Clark disclosed shocking new details about Combs' violent assault on Ventura after learning about her relationship with Cudi. Ventura was on the ground in a fetal position as Combs kicked her as the singer lay crying silently, Clark said. 5-day lie detector test. Combs' former assistant also told the court how she was forced to take a lie detector test for 5 days and warned she would be thrown in the river if she failed after Combs' jewelry went missing. Clark says she left petrified after being brought to an abandoned building in New York and locked in while being questioned over the missing jewelry. The extraordinary claims emerged during the testimony of Clark, who repeatedly broke down in tears while describing her nightmarish employment with Diddy. At the start of Clark's testimony on Tuesday, she told the courtroom about the punishing hours and low pay she received while working for Combs. Kid Cudi's testimony: over a dozen witnesses, including Combs' ex-girlfriend and singer Ventura, have taken the stand throughout the trial's first 2 weeks, giving harrowing testimony against the Bad Boy Records exec, 55. Clark's name was mentioned in the courtroom during rapper Kid Cudi's testimony on Thursday. Cudi testified that Clark called him in December 2011 to warn him that Combs and another associate were at his home in Los Angeles after the music mogul learned he was dating Victoria. The rapper told jurors that he met Victoria after she was allegedly involved in a domestic violence incident with Combs. Cudi and Victoria went to Sunset Marquis Hotel, and while there, the rapper told jurors that he received a call from Clark, who he said sounded very scared. In 2023, a post on X, Clark appeared to have referred to Combs as the devil when describing what it was like working for him. Last 11 years of my life, I had to deal with everyone's nonsensical allegiance to the devil, Clark posted at the time. Combs has pleaded not guilty to all charges as the prosecutors continue to pay him as the ringleader of a criminal enterprise. He has denied all allegations against him and insists he's only engaged in consensual sex. The federal trial is expected to last 8 weeks. So let me give you a little bit more of her testimony. A little bit more of her testimony is it came out that she did get a settlement from Diddy for being overworked and underpaid. Part of the settlement, he was supposed to give her a reference letter so she can get another job and kind of continue working in the industry because she got a family to feed. She also said that, you know, at one point her and Cassie were good friends, but the friendship kind of fell out when Cassie started getting tighter and closer to Diddy and really became his girlfriend, right? And she said at that point, Cassie, you know, thought like, I was just not Diddy's assistant, I was her assistant. She said Cassie didn't really have talent like that. She said when she thinks of talent, she thinks of Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey. And she said that was not Cassie. So I don't know why Cassie had to get thrown under the bus for not having talent, but a lot came out from Capricorn Clark. Katrina, your thoughts, and I'm gonna go try to hardwire in, and hopefully that will stop my lagging.
Yeah, it's sad that they just now coming to light with this. Everybody already knew what Diddy was doing. I think he gave Capricorn a beat down as well. Um, and I think one of the new edition boys helped. What was it, Ronnie? No, not Ronnie. Mike. I think it was Mike. But either way, it's just so much. You don't know where to start. They was there. Um, we just have to see how it goes because this trial is just going in and out. And maybe her testimony would lead to the RICO charges or the racketeering charges stating that he was being a terror. So we'll see how it ends. But that's all I got. Wayne, you next.
You know, when I listen to about her, this woman, she seemed like she for the streets, from the streets, about the streets, around thugs and all this stuff. Who in their right mind, under all these threats and all this, you got to be hard. You got to be hard to still work at some place after somebody done threatened your life, and you still hanging around. I think she thought, like I say, game recognized game. I think she thought she can hang in there. She thought she could hang with them, even with the threats and all this stuff. You know, I was gonna say it for the money, but hell, she was only making about $55,000. Then she got a raise, I think, about $60,000. So what is it that kept her there? I don't think she was that scared, because ain't nobody hanging around that scared to me. I think she thought she could ride it out, and maybe she could get something from the, connections and all this stuff. She started with what's the guy's name she came from?
Suge Knight.
Yeah, Suge Knight. Now she came from Suge Knight, so she trying to stay in the business, and then now she with Diddy. So I think she was just hard enough to say, I can handle this. Let me figure out what I can do. I don't think it was the first time she been threatened. I think she always knew she had a way out, or had it out, because she got away and then sued. So yeah, I think, like I said, I think she for the streets, from the streets, by the streets, dealing with street people. Because I don't know nobody sane and nobody innocent that their life was threatened the first day, and they going back wanting to work a second day. Not happening.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me. So Fly Girl said allegedly Capricorn has a special needs child and her parents died in an accident. You know, I can sympathize with all of that. But at the same time, that's more of a reason to get out from underneath the double. God showed you a sign from day one. If this man threatened you on day one, if that ain't a sign, you can't tell me what is. So you got a sign from day one, and you decided to still walk in the jungle. And then when the lions and tigers and bears ate you up, now you want to talk to us about it.
I'm
It
just
was
trying
a
to figure out how
stop
you leave
sign.
Suge Knight. I'm sorry, Diva. I'm just trying to figure out how you leave Suge Knight and go to Diddy. They two of a
Because that's
kind.
what this is what these people do. Because allegedly, Cassie said when it came to dating Diddy, and they told her to get away from Diddy, she was like, "Well, Jay-Z is already with somebody, so who am I going to date? You could date Johnny from around the block." So this was about money for all of them, playing games.
So obviously she wasn't making. Somebody was saying that she was making $1 million a year, not Capricorn, but Cassie doing modeling. So if you was making that much money doing modeling, I would have just stuck to that instead of getting my head knocked between a washer and a dryer. I would have just kept doing my modeling. But like you said, it's all about the money.
Yeah. Julius, I'm coming to you. Give me a minute. Let me just show some more stuff here. So Diddy trial live updates. Ex-assistant Capricorn Clark testifies. So Sean Diddy Combs, ex-assistant Capricorn Clark, who once reportedly dubbed him the double, testified against the disgraced hip-hop mogul at his sex trafficking trial in Manhattan on Tuesday. Combs, 55, is accused of using his fame, fortune, and many businesses to run a racketeering scheme in which he controlled and manipulated ex-girlfriend Cassie for over a decade, using violence and threats, forcing her and others into drug-filled freak-offs, sex marathons that went on for days. He faces life in prison if convicted. The trial is not televised because we can't have cameras in the federal courts, okay? So trial wraps up for the day after Diddy's ex-assistant finished her testimony. She was on the stand all day, right? So Sean Diddy Combs' former assistant Capricorn Clark finished testifying after spending a whole day on the witness stand. Trial ended for the day shortly after 3 p.m. And tomorrow, an officer from the Los Angeles Police Department is expected to testify first. Another alleged Combs victim, who was testifying anonymously under the name Mia, could take the witness stand as soon as tomorrow. I'm interested to know who this person is. Tomorrow, I think, is going to be the shocker. Rihanna's name comes up again at the Diddy trial. Sean Diddy Combs' ex-assistant testified she once went on vacation with singer Rihanna in August 2012. Capricorn Clark, Combs' employee from 2004 to 2012, was asked by Combs' lawyer Mark what she was doing in August of 2012. I was on vacation with Rihanna, Clark responded. Clark wasn't asked any further questions about that trip. Rihanna's name was brought up last week during the testimony of celebrity makeup artist who said her clients included Rihanna, Jennifer Lopez, and Combs' longtime girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. Now, Diddy's 84, so Mama Combs is 84. 84-year-old mother Janice is supporting him at trial. Janice Combs, 84, Mama Sean Diddy Combs, arrived at the courthouse through the front doors Tuesday morning, showing up to back her son, as she has nearly every day of the trial so far. For a minute there, I thought Mama Combs pulled the wardrobe together, but that's Mama Combs. She's 84. I guess I gotta let her be what it is. Mama Combs in these blonde wigs. All right, Mama Combs. So working for Diddy was another form of business school. If you could survive it, ex-assistant says. So Sean Diddy Combs' ex-assistant Capricorn Clark told the jury that working for the demanding hip-hop mogul was another form of business school. Clark testified she didn't think anyone else worked as hard as for Mr. Combs as me. So that's a picture of Cassie and Combs back in the day. Guess better times, I guess. And that's Capricorn Clark. She says she learned a lot being employed by the Bad Boy Records founder, so much so that it was like another form of business school if you could survive the demanding nature. Clark said Combs wanted to break the glass ceiling as to what Black people were allowed to do in the business world. Earlier, Clark said she worked from 9 a.m. to 4 a.m. the next day and barely got breaks or was able to eat meals during her shift. Throughout Clark's testimony, the I'll Be Missing You rapper has remained cool displaying little reaction as he sat calmly at the defense table in a navy sweater with his hands folded on his lap. Very beautiful. Cassie wasn't very talented. Diddy ex-assistant admits on cross-examination. Sean Diddy Combs' ex-assistant Capricorn Clark told jurors that the rapper's longtime girlfriend Cassie Ventura had talent, but wasn't very talented. I think she had talent. It was a very beautiful girl, Clark said when asked about Ventura's talent as an R&B singer. Combs' lawyer Mark pressed Cassie further. They said press Cassie further on the topic. I think they meant Capricorn. Asking, she wasn't very talented. True, Clark responded. Clark clarified she thought Ventura was a studio artist who needed her voice equalized and engineered and was less of a live performer in the caliber of Mariah Carey or Whitney Houston. Clark opinions came out after Mark asked her if she sometimes didn't get along with Ventura. Clark explained that after Ventura moved from being an artist under Combs' label to dating a hip-hop mogul, tension sometimes arose between the two women. Ventura thought Clark was paid to help her, Clark told jurors. She got a little bit more bravado being his girlfriend, she added. The testimony of Sean Diddy Combs' ex-assistant Capricorn Clark has paused while Charles, that's when they went on break. All right. Diddy, so now we learned too that Diddy once implied he pulled a pow-pow on 50 Cent over long-standing beef, ex-assistant says. Sean Diddy Combs once implied he might use a pow-pow on 50 Cent, with whom he's had a long-standing beef, according to testimony. The Bad Boy Records founders once griped to his manager, Chris Lighty, about his feud with the 50 Cent after the two rappers left an MTV press event. Combs' ex-assistant Capricorn Clark told jurors, I don't like all the back and forth. I like pow-pows, Clark recalled Combs telling Lighty in an elevator leaving the event. After Cassie Ventura's bonds, I think they really mean after Cassie Ventura's Vaughn show testimony about being forced into freak-off sections by Combs and detailing repeated beatings by her longtime boyfriend, 50 Cent spoke out on Instagram. Damn, he did all that S to go out like this, shaking my head. The 49-year-old rapper wrote, this S is crazier than regular crazy. Diddy viciously kicked Cassie after breaking into Kid Cudi's home. And this is what Capricorn Clark testified today, that she saw him beating Cassie once he found out that Cassie, was dating Kid Cudi. So Sean Diddy Combs viciously kicked Cassie Ventura the same day he broke into Kid Cudi's home after discovering the rapper had been seeing Ventura, according to testimony. The Bad Boy Records founder, wearing underwear and a robe in his Los Angeles mansion, started kicking Ventura in the thigh and leg with 100% full force after he found out his longtime on and off again girlfriend had a fling with Kid Cudi. She didn't do anything. Combs' ex-assistant Capricorn Clark testified she was just crying silently. That's a picture of Capricorn Clark. My heart was breaking seeing how her get beat like that, Clark said, at one point dabbing her eyes with a tissue as she quietly teared up. Earlier that day, Combs kidnapped Clark while holding a pow-pow and threatening to unalive Kid Cudi and forcing Clark to come along while he broke into the rapper's home. Clark eventually drove Ventura to Combs' house, where he assaulted Ventura and told Clark he would F her up if she intervened. Diddy's assistant, he's going to unalive Kid Cudi after finding out about Cassie, relationship testimony. Sean Diddy Combs' ex-assistant Capricorn Clark told jurors the hip-hop mogul said he was going to unalive Kid Cudi after discovering he was dating Cassie Ventura. Clark said the Bad Boy Records founder came to her apartment livid and holding a pow-pow, telling her, get dressed. We're going to unalive this Ed, referring to Kid Cudi, whose real name is Scott Muscudi. That's her, the artist depictions, because they can't be in court. No cameras. Combs asked Clark why she didn't tell him that his longtime on and off again girlfriend Ventura had been seeing Kid Cudi. I have never seen anything like this before, Clark told jurors. He had never come to my house the entire time I known him. I never seen him with a weapon. She got into a black Escalade with Combs and sat on his she got in a black Escalade with Combs and sat on his lap while he still and sat on his lap while he still had the pow pow. Clark recounted. I think they meant that he had the thing on his lap. They need to double check their articles. Once they arrived at Kid Cudi's house, Combs went inside while Clark remained in her car. Puff came and got me with a pow pow and took me to Cudi's house to unalive him. Clark testified she told Ventura by phone while Combs was inside. Now, because Cassie and Capricorn Clark had phones that Diddy paid for. Capricorn Clark got Cassie a burner phone, and that night she called Cassie, or that day she called Cassie on a burner phone to tell Cassie what Diddy was doing. Diddy shoved assistant Capricorn Clark 25 to 30 yards when she said she hated working for him. This is that testimony. So Sean Diddy Combs' ex-assistant Capricorn Clark testified that the hip-hop mogul once ran at her, shoving her 25 to 30 yards after she said she hated working for him. Clark said, "I hated here," in front of Combs' chef at his Miami Beach home, which the chef repeated to the Bad Boy Records founder. Listen, everybody in this orbit was telling on each other. They was tattletailing. They was a mess. They all wanted to be Diddy's number one person. He immediately looked at me and said, "You hate it here?" And he charged me. Clark told the jury. He ran towards me with his hands open and charged at my shoulders. "If you hate it here, get the F out of my house," Combs said after launching Clark dozens of feet away. Combs' security guard intervened and told Clark to pack her things. She said she stopped working for the rapper after that incident. "That was crossing my boundary," Clark testified. "Well, he told you to get out, so I think that was beyond crossing your boundaries. You was fired." A lot of baby oil everywhere after Diddy's hotel stay, ex-assistant says. Handprints left on ultra suede wall. So this is another assistant. Sean Diddy Combs' former assistant told jurors that after the music mogul stayed at the Intercontinental Hotel in Los Angeles, there was a lot of baby oil everywhere. Capricorn Clark says she had to help unpack the Bad Boy founder's bags for 3 to 4 days hotel stints, including clothes, a camera bag, baby oil, personal lubricant, and drugs like ecstasy. After one of the stays at the Intercontinental Hotel, where Combs was notoriously caught on surveillance footage beating his girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, the room was left covered in baby oil, Clark testifies. "I could see handprints left on the ultra suede wall," Clark told the jury. "It was just a lot of baby oil everywhere. It wasn't just necessarily on the wall." It wasn't clear from her testimony if the time she was referring to was the same stay when Combs beat Ventura. Diddy's posse threatened to unalive assistant when his jewelry went missing. She says, "Going to throw you in the East River." So Sean Diddy Combs' former assistant Capricorn Clark testified that she was once forced to take a lie detector test after Combs' diamond jewelry vanished and was told she'd be thrown in the East River if she failed. Clark told the jurors that Combs' bodyguard Uncle Paulie Offord, came to her home and forced her to come with him to an abandoned skyscraper at the 1710 Broadway after Combs' diamond necklace, bracelet, and watch went missing while she was transporting them. She was greeted on the 6th floor by a heavyset man, chain smoking cigarettes and drinking black coffee, she testified. He said, "If you fail this test, they're going to throw you in the East River," Clark testified. Clark says she underwent a whopping 5 full days of lie detector tests before being told she could finally return to work. Whew. Well, that comes close to all the racketeering and stuff. Julius, you're up.
Okay. This is a doozy. We know he was a fool. But I do have to say, didn't she also go back and work for him after she won her lawsuit? Or no?
No.
Okay. So it gives credence that he was crazy. I can guess say it leans in more to the racketeering part of it. Um, but a lie detector test, golly, I mean,
Well, that leads into the whole coercion. That leads into the violence. That leads into the threats. She got the kidnapping piece because she said they came and snatched her up and forced her to go to Kid Cudi's house. So I'll spin back to you, Julius. Felicia, your thoughts?
Woo! Good evening, everybody. I hope you had a good holiday. Thank you, Diva. Yes, there was a lot that she shared today. I did miss quite a bit of her testimony. I just learned from you tonight that there was some settlement for her overtime money. So I gather when she filed that claim for her overtime, she indicated some things, and this is why she's on the stand. I've got to agree with you, Diva. And I want to be clear with everybody. I'm the working poor. I know what it is to go hungry at night. I've gone hungry at night, folks. But I'll tell you, I would have went hungry a whole week if on my first day, my new boss is telling me I may have to be gone if based on my previous relationships. I'm stunned and I'm shocked because often I hear on panels and in chats that people are groomed, that they don't know any better, that, they were there for a while. It was a love affair and then things went bad. But it's day one.
Day one.
Day one.
Not even 24 hours in.
Not 24 hours in.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so many thoughts in my head, but I'm going to ask this question. And maybe somebody can ask it for me. Because this is how I feel about Mr. Suge Knight. He's my friend.
Mm-hmm.
He's my former boss. And I got this pinhead hitting and pushing on me, and I don't know how to pick up the phone and call my former boss. See, that's what I would have done. No, you're going to run me my money. And we're not going to have to go to the court, see? Because I heard Mr. Knight tell the people from the jail, you need to go run my baby her money. She down there at the school. You know where she is. So I'm not understanding this story. I'm not understanding this relationship. So day one, you find out you're dealing with a violent boss.
Come on.
There have been situations where you have allegedly was in a building for 5 days taking lie detector tests. You've had situations where you've seen other people abused to the point where you wouldn't intervene. Yet you stay. She wasn't getting paid a tremendous amount of money. But it sounds like she was one of the people who was getting paid because so many were not.
Mm-hmm.
But based on what she was earning, if she had skills and an education, she could have made a lot more money on a legal and moral job than the one that she had. So I'm not understanding the why. So it wasn't about money. So it seems to me that it gets reduced to being celebrity adjacent. Everybody wants to be in the realm of celebrity. So you like telling people you work for Sean John, you work for Sean Combs, you work for Bad Boy Entertainment, even though you getting a beat down, a slap around. I mean, how many times she said she was threatened over her working career?
50. And one of them was day one.
Day one. And I believe her. You see that?
No, I do too. And that's why I'm like, but you stayed.
Exactly. So then we have to have a reason why you stayed. So we know it wasn't money because you wasn't getting your overtime. We know it wasn't easy because you were working an 18-hour shift day. So we know you wasn't sleeping well. I don't know where she was a mom at that time or anything like that. You know that there was the Uggs in the house. You know it was the alcohol. You know it was the substances. You know it was the wild, voyeurism thing. You know all of that. And you stay. So I'm not saying that this doesn't start to look like the RICO and the racketeering. It certainly does. But I don't think she was the one to introduce it. Because also in her testimony, I thought she was not very kind to Miss Ventura. I'm not saying she should have been, but and I can be, and I want to be corrected because I don't remember. But I don't think there was any artist, female artist, signed to Bad Boy Entertainment that ever came close to Mariah Carey or Whitney Houston. So I think her response was a reach. Whatever the talent was, it wasn't her money to be investing. She should have been fighting for her fair wage and for her dignity in the workplace. They're all concerned about this girl, and they're getting slapped around. I'm confused. Is my dignity first? Is my integrity first? Is my honor first? And is damn sure my compensation first? So I'm so thrown by what she's telling us. I don't know if this is how she was prepped for this. Okay, I don't know. And then another bombshell you dropped on me was that she asked for a letter of recommendation from a so-called devil. What?
Come on.
Where are we going with it? What are we doing here?
It's the foolery. It's the foolery. And she was texting. Yes, she was. Thank you, Truth Teller. I appreciate you. She was texting him in 2021. The devil.
She's trying to get back to the company. She wants to work with him again, like Dawn Richard. When's the team getting back together again?
Okay. Thank you, Crystal. She asked to work with him again in 2024. This is shenanigans. So that's why when people say it was a total win for the prosecution in the courtroom today, I say it depends on how you look at it. If I was the defense team, I would have had a field day with all of this. I want to know why the devil told you on day one he threatened you and you said, I'm staying.
Well, because you want to partner with the devil.
Okay.
And you expect that you're going to reap some rewards. You're not going to allegedly. I think being shoved 25, 30 feet means that you should have been in the hospital. No, 30 yards. She said some 30 yards. He shoved her some 30 yards. So that's 90 feet. And you stayed on the job?
You stayed on the job. Well, no, she claimed that was her breaking point, Felicia. But no, because he told you to get the F out.
Oh, okay. And then what about? I wasn't clear about.
Huh?
I wasn't clear about the situation in the car. Now they get back after they're doing all this pulling up and car screeching and who got a pow what. She said, according to that article, that was messy. If they wrote that she was left in a car.
Yes. So and Truth Teller. You know what? Thank you for helping me out here. Yes, she did. Let me just add this and I'm going to answer you, Felicia. And apparently she told him if she was still around, he wouldn't be in this mess. They all were competing against each other to be number one to Diddy. Because the chef is the one that told Diddy what Capricorn Clark said. And that's when he turned to her and said, oh, you don't like it here? And he lost it on her. They all wanted to be number one with Diddy. So yes, so the way the car story was told from what I read, Felicia, was that they banged on her door, they made her go, right? When they went, he did have a pow with him, right? He had it in his lap the whole time. They're driving there, right? I feel like when she's leaving out, because why would they need to go pick her up? I feel like they picked her up so she can direct them to the house. That's just my feeling, right? So they go there and they said and so when him and the bodyguard went inside to break in Kid Cudi's home, she called Cassie's burner phone. And she called Cassie burner phone, and Cassie and Kid Cudi were together, and she was like, Diddy's in your house now. And, she was all shook. They was all, she was shucking up when she called. When he got back to the car, even though she had Cassie's burner number listed as some other name, Diddy took her phone and he called the last phone number that she dialed. And it was the burner phone. It was Cassie. That's what I got from that. And so as Kid Cudi was coming back to his house, but he also called the cops, they was back in the car and they saw Kid Cudi's car coming up, but then they also saw the police, and then that's when they left. And then it was all of these calls and threats to Kid Cudi. Please don't call, don't to get the police report. Don't say it was me. Don't say it was Diddy in your house, so forth and so on.
Yeah, okay. That's good. Now, when did she witness Mr. Combs kicking on Miss Ventura?
I feel like in somewhere in the story, and if somebody caught it differently, correct me in the chat, they went and got Cassie, right? And then, or he went to Cassie's house or whatever. Somewhere Cassie gets back involved, and that's when Cassie got her beat down. That's
Okay.
when yeah.
Okay. And that's when she called her mother.
Yeah.
So she calls Cassie's mother and says, I can't call the police, but you can because your daughter's getting a beat down.
Right.
These people, no, they all, no, no, I'm done. They're all liars. Her mama was here last week. She ain't saying nothing about calling no police about no beat down. You know what? Shame on Cassie, mama. Shame on her. She right up there with Mama Combs. Yes, she is. For me, she right up there with Mama Combs.
Cassie mama talk about how Diddy asked her for $20K.
Oh no, this is terrible. It's a lack of parenting, it's a lack of love and protection, it's a lack of accountability. It's you're calling her mother, you're present at the beatdown, but you can't call the police, but she can. So how did Mr. Combs think that the police got called? It just did. I don't know. I'm done.
It's a mess. So Nosy Rosie said he made Cassie come back in exchange for Capricorn. This thing is a hot stinking mess. Natasha said there aren't a lot of jobs that pay like Diddy, huh? And I understand why victim would tolerate the abuse they endure for a paycheck for financial security, but no one deserves the abuse Diddy gave. There are plenty of jobs that was paying more than Diddy. And you work regular. I'll let you talk, Felicia. And they work regular hours. But go ahead, Felicia.
No, because she said when she started, she was an assistant. Yes. And I think this is like 2002, 2004. And she was in New York. Okay. So at that time, a good assistant job was running between $60,000 and $65,000 a year with health benefits, standard 9 to 5 or 10 to 6. And you get to go home and nobody is pretty much meeting you up in Central Park wanting to beat you down and telling you they're going to throw you in the East River. So no, I disagree.
Yeah. Cassandra, thank you for reminding me of this. Yes, they did. This lady was jealous of Cassie because after the Kid Cudi incident, she was fired and Cassie and Diddy stayed together. And they also brought up her crush on Diddy. She called him chocolate. Yes, she did. And she was mad. I forgot to add this. She was mad that Cassie was the one that cheated on him with Kid Cudi. So she was like, you let Cassie stay, but I got fired. I'm the only one that you not letting back in your world from this situation. For whatever reason, they loved them some Diddy. And they didn't give a darn about the violence when they was in the mix of it. They didn't give a darn about the violence, the threats, none of that. They loved Diddy. She sure did say that. Cassandra, thank you so much. There was a lot left out of the testimony of all of them. Yes, facts. According to Capricorn, Kid Cudi ran from the scene when he saw Diddy. Child, this is a mess. Amy J, you in the building. What do you want to say?
Oh my God, I missed the first part, but I don't know what everybody's saying. But listening to this testimony and knowing like the characters all kind of like rolling out, this is some hot ghetto rich mess.
Yes.
When I tell you, first of all, not how to be like stereotypical, but the Bay is known for like scammers and like just real hustling type women. They don't play. Like if you think about the Bay, think about like Pebbles. Think about how like she got into the industry and she ran it and she was able to like build herself up on the face and stuff like that. So I'm thinking like when I heard about Capricorn, I feel like she was a real one in regards to like keeping the secrets and doing the dirt, right? And
Mhm.
I also think when I'm listening to the story, how she got pulled into Diddy's love triangle with Cassie. Cassie is a messy, 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 messy girl. That's all I can say. And listening to it, I think she likes to see him jealous and enraged. And she brought a lot of people into that drama that did not belong in there. This woman is just trying to make money for her kids. She's trying to get connection. She was on vacation with Rihanna. Like her whole life was flipped upside down because she was trying to keep certain things separate. I feel like Cassie wanted this woman out. Listening to the story, texting her, knowing that Diddy reads the messages. Oh, I want to go out with Kid Cudi. You know what you're doing. And I also think that was a slight to her because she said she would never be with a man who told her what to do in front. You don't think Cassie heard that when he was like telling her, go sit down, stand up, go sit down, and this is why y'all can't get a man. And for her response, like, I don't want a nigga like that. Or you're not trying to cuss them, but she basically said it in the most degrading way to what Cassie was doing to stay in a relationship.
Mhm.
That right there shows you the line of disdain they have for each other. So her now reaching out to you and asking for help to start cheating on her boyfriend, I would have quickly just like excused myself from that job. And I also think that's why that other guy who sat in the plane and saw her getting abused did nothing, because I think they all were aware of these sick little games these two play with each other. And they got tired of trying to protect her, because then it gets to a point where he attacks you. And that is just some junky mess. And I just feel like, yes, it's Rico technically. He going to jail, but damn, you did all this over some dumbness and just drug. Because when she said she wanted to save him or try to protect him, that made me see that this girl was 100% 10 toes down for you, Diddy, but you could not see it. And you were chasing after somebody or going back and forth with a person, and you created this storm that you're now in. So it is what it is.
Yeah, they all are a hot ghetto mess. I do agree with you. They all wanted Diddy. This was more than a love triangle. It was more than a triangle. It was almost everybody in Diddy orbit. They was fighting to be like, Diddy's number one person. Cassie drug. I'm gonna say this lightly. Uh, Felicia told us when the lawsuit first came out that Cassie was for the streets. Cassie drug a lot of people into this mess and left them for dead when the smoke came. Left them for dead when the smoke came. This girl got you a burner phone, and at the end of the day, it was like whatever, whatever. You kept dragging her in the mess, knowing that your boyfriend is violent. But you know what? I'm sorry. I know you always say, "Oh, don't victim shame." I blame Capricorn Clark for a lot of this. If on day one he showed you who he was and you continue to go in the jungle, then sweetie pie, that's on you. You knew you opened the gate to the lions then, and you thought you was gonna be able to tame the lion.
Diva, I want to just say one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
The other day when George was up, George Kaplan, the assistant, he said he worked all them hours. He wanted to be the best. He did everything he could for Mr. Combs. And so we heard a little bit from that today from Miss Clark. But the one thing the two of them said in common that just irritated me was this was their version of business school. Look, I don't know what kind of business school you think is out here in the regular market, but oh no, oh no, I don't know where they get educated. I don't know if they had an education, but the idea that being in this kind of work environment was preparing you was like being in a business school. That must be some BS that Mr. Combs was putting out there to them, and they ate it up. All of them could be manipulated. All of them could be treated in a way that was without dignity and respect, because they were ready for the manipulation, because they wanted to be stars, they wanted to be wealthy, and they thought that he was going to help them make that happen.
But
I'm done.
can I say
I,
the
I, I, go ahead.
I'm sorry, can I say, because I'm looking at someone said that Cassie said Jay-Z was taken. That also shows you her bravado and what she thought she was owed in dating. She felt like she's supposed to be with the top guy. And I'm like, where do you get this bravado from when you weren't even claimed by him? So that shows you that what Capricorn was saying, her attitude changed and she became like kind of snotty to be around. And she felt like everybody worked for her and she was doing whatever she wanted to do. That shows, it shows you, to me, I just don't get this feeble, quiet girl that just couldn't do anything and she couldn't fight for herself. She had high standards with her saying that if I can't be with Jay, I just gotta stick with Diddy. That to me shows she had, in her mind, she was above it all.
They were Bonnie and Clyde. They were the black Bonnie and Clyde, for real, for real. They was beating on people, threatening people, and if you even though he beat her, if you dare say something to him, she was gonna slap you too. They was slapping y'all up and kicking y'all together. Bonnie and Clyde. So somebody said, I just want to go back. Somebody said he ran this thing like a mobster. He didn't. That girl said she had benefits in a 401k or something like that she lost when she got fired.
Dude, can I ask a question when you get a chance?
Give me a minute, wait. There is no mobster I know that the people are on payroll and they got a 401k and health insurance. I don't know one. Wayne, what was you gonna say?
Just a quick question. Does anybody know how Capricorn left Suge Knight? Was it, good standards or whatever, or just like, hey, I'm looking for higher mobility, whatever.
She didn't work with Suge Knight.
Huh?
She didn't work with Suge Knight. Her best friend was his baby mama.
I thought somebody said
your connections. He said your connections to Suge Knight. I don't think she worked for him. Yeah, but
okay, I got it.
What is Tamara said Clyde didn't beat Bonnie. Listen, but they were both in terrorist vendetta. Whether you want to call them Ike and Tina, Bonnie and Clyde, it's semantics, right? Either way, those two were two peas in a pod. Maybe you like that word better. They were two peas in the pod. Okay, two peas in the pod. And if these people didn't have immunity, they wouldn't have been able to get up on that stand. And I think the only reason why the defense is treading lightly is because they don't want a lot to come out. Let's be clear, on the DNA of that cocktail that was thrown in that Porsche, it was a woman's DNA. The only woman that we know of that drove over to that house with Diddy and the bodyguard was her. You got to think about, why would they need to come pick her up? Why? He had the bodyguard. Why did he need her? Because she knew that Cassie was dating Cuddy, and like, I don't know, like, because she didn't tell. It's a mess. It's a mess. But I'll just say this. Do I think Cassie deserved to get beat like she did? Come on, let's be clear. I do not. But do I think that everything she did was so innocent? No, I do not. She drugged a lot of people. Kid Cudi, this ain't diva. Kid Cudi sat on the stand and said she played us. He said Cassie played me and Diddy. That came out of Kid Cudi's mouth. Now you seeing her and Capricorn Clark had a little situation. Because Capricorn Clark, she do darts at Cassie. There was no need for her to say, oh, she wasn't talented. She was no Mariah Carey or Whitney Houston. Not too many people in the industry are. So she do daggers at her. Yeah, this boils down to a toxic, yes it is, a toxic relationship. It was toxic. Yeah, one was rich and the other one was chasing riches. You better talk, K&J. They made Cassie the star witness. So unfortunately, Tamara, it is about her. It's not about Cassie at this point. It's about all the people who passed around him, he's always been suspicious. But Cassie is the star witness, so it is about Cassie, because unfortunately for Cassie, the prosecutors put this whole thing on her back. Every story that every witness is telling is connected back to Cassie. Tell me one witness that got on that stand and didn't connect it back to Cassie. It is about Cassie, because they made it about Cassie, not us. This is the prosecution. If you're mad that, and I'm not saying you, Tamara, just personally, but if anybody is mad that Cassie's name is being tossed around, it's the prosecution for it. They put her as the number one witness, and then every single witness that came after that, they had a Cassie story. What's a Don Richard? The eggs and Cassie in the frying pan. The other one, yeah, I saw him hit Cassie. The mother, I had to get $20,000 for Cassie. Capricorn Clark, because she was with Kid Cudi, they banged on my door and I had to go to Kid Cudi's house. And I bought Cassie a burner phone. But then after a while, I didn't even like Cassie. Anybody else before I move on to the next story? All right, everybody's good. Okay, so let me see. He was at another woman's house at 6 a.m. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out some other woman he's seeing set the car on fire. That's Kid Cudi. Yes. Kid Cudi was said to have been talking to two sisters, because outside the courtroom, someone yelled that out to him and he kept getting in the car. It's so many lies in this case. We don't know who to believe. So far, none of the prosecution witnesses aren't credible to me. It is too many holes in all of their stories that are falling apart. And you want to know why it's so many holes? Because what they don't want to do is they want to dance around their piece in the pie. So as they're dancing around their piece of the story, it sounds like lies because there are pieces missing, and the pieces missing is where they were part of the situation and the problem. I don't know who the defense is going to bring. I hope not Mama Combs with that blonde wig on. I don't know who they're going to bring. Go ahead, Felicia.
Diva, if you can, perhaps you can do a poll. But overall, as you're talking about all of the witnesses outside of law enforcement, none of them seem able to say no. They're willing to carry the pupils. They're willing to give up addresses. They're giving out phone numbers. They're telling locations. I don't know what's really happening here. I really don't, because nobody said no. Or I guess if you said no, you got fired immediately and you had to go on and just get another job. But there are a lot of yes people around this man. And so I'm going to gather that today's witness, Ms. Capricorn Clark, was also given immunity. Okay? Because she says she was present at a lot of these events. You didn't read it to the folks today, but during her testimony, I did hear her say that she would go out and purchase the substances. Yes, she did. She herself even had a prescription that she would have filled, and she would share it. Okay, so there was all of them were yes people, and they were into the dark side of doing business. And Ms. Clark wanted to shame the deceased Kim Porter today. Yeah. Yeah. She was willing to go that far for her immunity. Yeah. They have no honor, none of these people. They don't have no integrity. Not a bit.
Zero. Respect the dead. I mean, because you got enough people that are still here. Yeah. Tamara's stuck on this mobsters thing. Mobsters only have yes people.
Yeah, so I guess we all on the same. I guess we all on the same train. This is a hot mess.
Yeah, but listen, in everyday work situations, people got yes people. Yes people is really not the problem. It's what you saying yes to. is what you saying yes to. All of them said yes to the sex, the drugs, the alcohol, and the violence. They all say yes. They all say yes. Because the chef was there when he allegedly charged that Capricorn Clark and pushed her 25 to 30 yards. And the chef had them known that when she told Mr. Combs what baby girl said, that it was going to be problems. And she told him, and he pushed her. She probably was still standing there, staring the soup and cooking the chicken like it was nothing. They all say yes to the shenanigans. I'm going to go into this next story. We've been on this story for a minute. I've always suspected that Kim Porter death was substance related. I don't know about her specifically being at an FO, but she was still in a relationship with Diddy. Yeah, I don't know. It's one of them things where I think we're never going to know the truth. I'm going to go ahead and roll into this next story. And this next story is, unfortunately, a 1-month-old in the bed with her parents. They had a pit bull dog, and this dog unalived the baby. Let me go ahead and share a screen.
By a dog in Queens.
Let's get right to the scene in Long Island City. Fox's Arthur Sheehan is there. And Arthur, this is terrible news that's really shaking up the neighborhood.
Yeah, Natasha, Steve, in our line of work, we see a lot of bad things, and it's hard to remember the last time we saw something this bad. Having a child is meant to be one of the most joyous moments of a person's life, but absolute tragedy has stricken here. We are here in Long Island City at the intersection of 12th Street and 41st Avenue. And let's begin by showing you a freeze frame of video that we shot as city workers were removing something in a dark plastic bag. Some out here speculate that in that bag is the body of the dog. Now, police say at 6:38 this morning, they responded to this building here at Queensbridge Houses in Long Island City, and that when they arrived, they found a 1-month-old baby girl dead. They could not even rush her to the hospital. She was dead. Now, sources tell Fox 5 the family dog, perhaps a young dog itself, a puppy, had chewed the baby's face off. While the sources say it could have been a German Shepherd or some sort of German Shepherd mix, many in this neighborhood tell us it is a pit bull or a pit bull mix. But either way, there is an air of sorrow that now sits on this neighborhood.
I think that a baby sleeping on the bed, baby should sleep in their own crib. And it's unfortunate. It's really sad.
My friend just told me on the phone that a pit bull attacked the baby or killed the baby. 1 month ago, right?
1 month old.
1 month? Oh, wow. I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
What do you think? I mean, you know something about pit bulls if you live in this neighborhood.
Pit bulls are dangerous. I mean, they're great pets, but they are dangerous. If you're walking the dog, you should have a muzzle on them.
Now, to be clear, like that first woman there, while they are reviewing how things could have gone differently, nobody is criticizing the family for what happened here. Just an overwhelming sense of sorrow for their loss of a 1-month-old baby girl. Meanwhile, the medical examiner's office now has the task of figuring out exactly what the cause of death was. We're live in Long Island City. Arthur Sheehan, Fox 5 News. Steve and Tasha, back to you.
My word. All right.
So incredibly sad. Let me just share a screen with you again. 1 second. So, New York City, 1-month-old fatally mauled by the family puppy while parents slept. I heard the mom screaming. Let me just pause this. Oh, wait, it's just my screen. It's just a 1-month-old Queens girl was horrifically killed when the family's puppy chewed off part of her face as she slept between her mom and stepdad early Tuesday, cops and sources said. The baby's mother, 27, called 911 just after 6:30 a.m. to say her newborn had been lying between the couple in the apartment with NYCHA and Queensbridge houses when the pair awoke to find her 6-week-old German Shepherd pit bull mix gnawing on the infant's face. Law enforcement sources said the dog bit off a substantial portion of the face of the baby who had been born on April 13th, sources said. Neighbors could hear the woman from inside the apartment screaming as EMS workers responded to the unit on the 12th Street near 41st Avenue, but the child could not be saved, the cops said. Neither the infant nor the couple were immediately identified by the police. She told me she woke up and the dog was eating the baby. One of the mom's female friends told the Post, chewing on the baby's face. I said, y'all laying right next to the baby? How the F did you not hear the baby cry? The woman said. She didn't have that. She just kept saying, we was lying right there. We was lying right there. Neighbor Chanel Novell said, I heard the baby's mother screaming and I heard the cops. She said she warned the new mom 2 days ago to put the dog on a leash, but the woman ignored her, telling her he didn't bite. I saw the baby 2 days ago. The mother was standing right there holding the baby, waiting for the elevator, Novell said. Then she went back, forgot something, and the dog, which wasn't on a leash, is never on a leash, was never on a leash, walked into the elevator by itself and went down and got off on some floor. I told her that dog needs to be on a leash, she said. No, this dog don't bite, Novell said. I said, all dogs bite. The dog needs to be on a leash. And she just looked at me like, whatever. I heard this morning and I thought it's sad. It's effing sad. Longtime neighbor Maria, 29, said the sound of screaming rattled the building. Someone was screaming this morning, a female's voice, she said. Then later this morning, I came down, I saw the ambulances and I spoke to my neighbors and I heard that the 1-month-old baby was dead. I have 3 kids and a dog, she said. Obviously, the first thing is to protect the children. I don't know how this could have happened. I think the parents, was really the parent, the mom and the stepdad, and I think they were high. That's just my thoughts. Katrina, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are, you got a newborn and you have a dog in the house. My thing is, before I went to sleep, I would have locked that dog up. How long have they had this dog? What did you say, for 6? They had the dog for 6 weeks. Normally, because it takes these dogs time to get used to new babies or whatever, because most of the time, a dog will protect a child. So I don't know if they wasn't feeding this dog or something. And then this baby is laying there between them. So what if the baby started crying? What if something happened to the baby? Y'all couldn't wake up at all? Did he mauled the baby face before or mouthed her mouth off or something? Because I know for a fact pit bulls go for the throat. Majority of them go for the throat. If you ever watch them or what's up, my son breeds pit bulls. And I know they most likely go for the throat before they go for anything. But what I'm saying with these people are, something is off right here, because the dog hop on the bed, you know, dog hopping on the bed, y'all that sleep, you that didn't sleep. And I'm not saying the dog probably didn't weigh no pounds or anything like that, but I'm
Katrina,
just saying.
for me, you having a lot of feedback. You're having a lot of feedback.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, a lot of feedback.
Come back to me.
Okay. Felicia,
All right, come back to me.
Felicia,
Okay, I'm going to move very gently here. Sounds like a lot of things came together and things went bad. First thing, they said the baby's born May 13th. I'm only coming from my own personal experiences, but as a mother, I remember sleep deprivation. Oh my God, I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
So you're up for days and days around the clock, nursing your baby, adjusting, and then you need sleep. And you go into a deep REM sleep.
Mm.
And this is where the people who are in your life are there to make sure that the baby is being taken care of and you're being taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I would hit that wall, I would tell my husband, hey, I've got to get some sleep. You've got to keep your eyes on our baby.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Fact.
And over time, I got better with the sleep deprivation, but I remember it. I remember it very clearly. Just up all the time, not getting any rest. No, I didn't have a new dog, puppy in the house. But puppies like milk. And maybe the baby had milk on them. And maybe the dog, because he wasn't put away, because we had stepdaddy in the bed. Let's talk about the bigger dog in the house. Okay, let's talk about that one first. This baby's 6 weeks old, and this is the stepfather. What are we talking about here? We're talking about a bad decision, right? Okay. All right. So he's in the bed, and he's in a deeper sleep than you. And this not his baby. This not his work. This not his responsibility. I know some of you in the chat gonna come for me, and it's okay, but that's how I feel about it. This not his child. This not something he planned. He came into her life whenever he came, and he's a stepfather. He's sleeping in the bed. Now, I'm just saying, I don't know. Maybe stepdaddy rolled on the baby. I don't know. I'm just saying. And maybe the baby was smelling the milk. And the puppy did what puppies do. Now, I want to get to this beautiful neighbor who was brave enough and courageous enough to approach her at the elevator. And I want to share it again from my point of view. Sometimes a person comes to you that they may not know you. They could be a complete stranger. They can know you. You might see them here and there, but they come with a message because they're a vessel. They're a warning to you about something they see and something you need to change. And when she came to her and said, your dog needs to be on a leash, she was not receptive. The dog gets on the elevator and gets off wherever the dog wants to get off at. And maybe you should have said, maybe my neighbor has a point. Because she couldn't call. She must have called. I'm assuming she called the dog to come back, and the dog kept doing what the dog wanted to do. So in my mind, this is all in my mind, the dog belonged to the big dog. I don't think it was her dog. I think the big dog came with the little dog. And that's why the little dog is in the bed with her new baby. This is so sad. This is what I consider a tragedy. Not only do you lose your new baby, it takes 40 weeks to create and make. Your baby was born healthy because your baby's home. And the baby is dead in the bed right next to you. As she said, I was lying there, right there. And that life was taken. So you all may not, want to support me here, and I'm going to miss it. But I'm praying for this mother because she made some decisions here that were life-changing. And she's going to need prayer, and she's going to need a lot of love, and she's going to need a lot of hope to keep going forward because this is awful. This is awful. I'm done.
Whew. Before I move on, let me just say this. That being sleep deprived is brutal, is beastly. But even being sleep deprived, when that baby cried, I will hear my child.
Diva, I don't think the baby could cry. I'm thinking the dog or the man, somebody laid on the baby. Do you know what I'm saying? The baby, just think it's a little baby. So maybe the baby was
they rolled over on the baby because the baby was in the bed with them. That's true. And the baby might have suffocated. Maybe the dog was smelling the milk and just ate the baby face. But I don't know.
If you have a small pet that's accustomed to sleeping with you in the bed, they generally tend to sleep in the same spot. Well, thank you, Fish. But in this case, I'm thinking the stepdaddies knew and he come with the dog. And then come a new baby. And And this woman is going through something. Let me raise my hand. I've been there.
Mm.
And in she lets these two things. This is why I'm praying for her. That relationship is over. They put down the dog, and I'm sure the big dog was put out. It's a horror story. Horror story.
Oh, God. This is sad.
So you wouldn't hear the baby if the baby was being crushed, if their lungs were being crushed. They're brand new in the world. You're not going to hear the baby. The baby just going to stop breathing.
Miss BR girl, praying for you. Thank you for sharing. Oh gosh. Who didn't speak on this story yet?
Me.
Go ahead, Wayne.
You know, especially with newborn small baby children like that, it's not going to take a lot for a dog or a cat to come up to them and start licking them in their mouth, in their face, and take their breath away. Cats do that. Cats can smell the milk on the baby's breath, jump in that crib, and just lick and take the life out of a child. Because they're so small. And they're actually licking the breath away from them. Now, I know I wouldn't trust myself, with the child in the middle like that. I mean, it don't take a lot to lean over. And about the sleep deprivation, I remember when I was married, and my first son, my child, it was time to feed him something like that. I don't know. But my wife had got up, warmed the bottle, and I happened to turn over, and the milk was scalding hot. So I know that sleep deprivation. Thank God I was just happened to, whatever. It woke me up, whatever. But anyway, so I was able to get the bottle and cool it off and all that stuff. But I don't want to pass judgment on these people. They're already going through enough as it is. But that's just the characteristics of an animal. They smell food, they're going to lick. And if the child is, at that point not responding, dogs will chew on stuff. They chew on shoes and everything, And this dog was a puppy. I think if it was an adult dog, it would have been more noise, growling and actual attacking. It doesn't sound like the dog attacked the child. And this is something they're going to have to live with the rest of their life.
Well, really is her. I'm saying this respectfully. That was the stepfather. The
same thing. I wasn't really on whoever it was.
No, I know what you're saying.
It's going to be on whoever was there. It's going to be on both of them. I don't see if it wouldn't be on his mind, then he ain't a good person. If this don't affect him, this man is not a good person.
I don't know. This who else didn't speak?
I didn't.
Go ahead, Julius.
So this is a tragic situation. But her village was pouring into her. And I'm saying this lightly, but her village was pouring into her, telling her the dog needed to be on a leash. The village was coming to her. Even as she called 911, the neighbors, the village came to her and took her to task. Now, I am praying for her. I'm not going to be a hypocrite, okay? I am praying for her. However, the village told her and she dismissed the village. This could have been avoided. It could have been. And now her baby, a precious gift from God, is no longer here due to avoidable actions. That's it.
Thank you. Well, Special K, you said a word. You said the baby's 1 month old. Her body hasn't healed yet from having another man's baby, and she got another man in the bed with her. That's the stepfather. You know, we gotta have these conversations. We gotta talk. You just had somebody else's baby, and another man is in your bed with your baby in the middle. Katrina, did you get to speak?
Yeah, Diva, I did. And like I was saying, it's sad with that situation. The baby, that was a puppy, but a baby is a baby. And for you, I mean, me, myself personally, you don't let your kids sleep in the bed with you whatsoever. But being that young and, you could roll over on this child. And I'm going with Felicia. Maybe somebody did roll over on this baby and they used the dog to do what they did. Because, and yes, the dog like milk and all that type of stuff. He's a puppy, but why not they said keep the puppy on the leash. But if the puppy is in the house, they're not going to have him on the leash. The only thing you could do is put him in a cage or put him away because you got a newborn there. And dogs are unpredictable. You can't tell me that a dog is not going to bite. You're not in that dog mind. So anybody telling me a dog ain't gonna bite, I'm not listening to what you're saying because you can't tell me what that dog gonna do. That dog got teeth, and you can't tell me that dog is not gonna bite. You might try to prevent that dog from biting, but nobody's in these dogs' minds for them to say that what dog will bite and what dog won't bite. So if you got babies,
Still got
pets,
bad feedback, Katrina. You still got bad feedback.
I'm gonna go ahead, please. Go ahead, Diva. I'm gonna try to.
All right.
Diva,
So,
I just wanted, can I say one thing?
yeah, of course.
Yeah, I know y'all say, she's in the bed with another man. Y'all don't know this man could have stuck with her throughout her pregnancy.
You better talk for the men, Wayne.
That's what I'm saying. It could be a little far-fetched, but he could have stuck with her without her pregnancy. Somebody else, got her pregnant, and he hung in with her. Just a possibility. I ain't saying that, but that's the other side that it could be.
Well, you throwing the other side, Wayne. I ain't mad at you. It's a possibility. You right. You are correct. So let's not just get on her and him right off the bat. Maybe he did. You are correct. And maybe he was there when she gave birth and brought that baby home and all of that. You are correct. I'll roll with that for 2.2 seconds. So I'm gonna go ahead and go into this last story. When Cassie lawsuit hit the market, so to speak, it blew up everything because everybody decided they was going to sit back and they was like, wait a minute, you know what? What Cassie went through, I went through something close or similar. Cassie got her payday. Let me see if I can go get mine. So let me share a screen. So Kevin Liles to Lady Luck, your $30 million shakedown attempt won't work. Kevin Liles is claiming his former Def Jam protege, battle rapper Lady Luck, is looking to cash out for $30 million on fake claims he once SA'd her, and he refuses to let it happen. On Tuesday, the former Def Jam president released a lengthy statement detailing his recent encounters with Lady Luck. Now, I'm going to stop for a minute and show y'all this whole encounter. This whole statement he put out. So May 27, 2025, statement from Kevin Liles. 3 weeks ago, I received a letter from former Def Jam artist Chanel Jones, a.k.a. Lady Luck, and her legal team, threatening to publish a book, Sound Cassie-like, and file a public lawsuit riddled with utterly falsely and horrendous accusations if I didn't pay them $30 million. Ms. Jones threatened to allege that almost 26 years ago, when signed as a recording artist to Def Jam, she was groomed. Ms. Jones also threatened to allege that I exposed myself to her and pushed her head towards my genitalia in an attempt to force her to perform oral while she was allegedly sitting in the driver's seat of my car. None of this ever happened. Her threatened allegations are totally false, and they are contradicted by Ms. Jones' many public statements about me and her appearance at Def Jam. They are also at odds with her continued outreach and relationship with both my family and me for the past 26 years. Her story is a fabrication. Rather than pay her and her legal team, I'm publicly addressing what I view to be an extortion attempt. It seems Ms. Jones hoped to leverage the current news environment to pressure me into writing an exorbitant check in order to avoid the negative publicity that will likely result from her false claims. I intend to vigorously fight any complaint she may file and will take whatever legal action is necessary against her and the attorneys who have participated in this attempted shakedown. Here are the facts. I signed Ms. Jones in Def Jam in 1999 after hearing her rap on Hot 97. As I have always done, I gave a talented young artist an opportunity with a lucrative deal, access to recording studios, and introductions to the most popular hip-hop artists of the time. In fact, she was featured on one of the hottest remixes in 1999, Simon Says, and on the Symphony 2000 with Hip Hop Giants. Ms. Jones had a monthly column in 2000 with Hip Hop Giants. Ms. Jones had a monthly column in The Source and an in-depth feature story in The New Yorker. She has previously acknowledged the efforts made to help her career. She has talked about the fact that I introduced her to one of the most prominent managers at the time, but she declined to work with him. Unfortunately, Ms. Jones' career never reached the heights she or I hoped for, and she asked to be released from her contract with Def Jam a few years later. In many interviews, she has blamed many people for her failure to become a household name. Following her departure from Def Jam, Ms. Jones regrettably turned into a life of crime. Over the years, she has been incarcerated and described herself as a 3-time felon. Her criminal history includes felony convictions, first-degree armed robbery, and heroin distribution. In interviews, she has admitted to committing several other crimes and lying to the court to combat the charges. Her history as a serial, self-described criminal is well documented. Despite her history, when Ms. Jones has asked, I tried to help her with her career. In interviews over the past 2 decades, she's spoken highly of me, noting that while at Def Jam, I treated her like my stepdaughter. As recently as last year, she reached out to me and asked for help with distribution of her new single. After connecting her with the head of my former distribution company, she did an interview stating I was helping her with her distribution, describing it as a full effing circle moment. In another interview in February 2024, Ms. Jones said, I love Kevin Liles. I just spoke to him. In a 2020 Instagram post, she posted a picture of us with other artists writing, Throwback Thursday, happy birthday, Kev. I already told you the other day, crying, laughing emoji. In another 2018 post of the same picture, she wrote, these men in this pic introduced me to the world. She has said she misses Def Jam. She has also had a long-standing relationship with my family. She called my mother mom, my father pops, and my sister her sister, and a lifelong friend, regularly telling her she loves her. Ms. Jones was in communication with my sister as recently as March 2025. Given her history with my family and I, it is shocking that she has now fabricated these claims and demanded $30 million. Her claims are untrue, and you don't have to take my word for it. Numerous witnesses can clearly refute her made-up story. And consider what Ms. Jones has said herself in 2016 in response to a direct question in a video recorded interview. Ms. Jones stated she had not had any negative sexual encounters with an older man when she was young. It wasn't like an older man situation, and that any negative encounters were with boys, because boys are nasty. When we were younger, boys, you know what I mean. Boys, you know, they like to touch, or, you know, I might have my babysitter's brother, you know, he might show me his cop. On her own podcast in 2022, she stated, I know victims of child abuse. I know people who were touched by pedophiles. And you know me, myself, it was just always the older boys messing with me. You know what I'm saying, so I can't. Again, on her podcast in 2023, in a conversation with About M and SA, she tripled down saying, me personally, I never had, you know, from the older guys. The only reason Miss Jones has changed her story is because she is seemingly hoping to extract a payday from me. In short, her claims are outrageous, false, and easily disproved. While it might sound surprising, I emphasize when Miss Jones struggles, she has often spoke about her long history of substance abuse, addiction, and mental health challenges. She has vented frustration and anger towards many individuals, including her own family. For the fact that she has never achieved the level of success she desires, she has spoken about generational trauma and talked about attempting S after being ridiculed and ostracized following a high-profile rap battle against another female artist. It was well documented that the recent loss of her mother has taken a significant toll on her after trying to piece together what could have triggered these false allegations. I've been deeply alarmed by the many interviews she's participated in where she appears high or intoxicated. In August 2024 interview, the interviewer seemingly mute her microphone as she detailed the use of cocoa, Molly, psychedelic mushrooms, whatever this is, and described online as a psychedelic toad venom. In that said interview, she espouses the practice of astral projection, of building your force field to project yourself once you leave your body from entities other than that exists outside what we can see with our normal eyes. Still, despite her extremely hurtful false accusations, I prayed for her healing and well-being. Regardless of my empathy for Ms. Jones, I will not be extorted, nor will I pay $1 to those that threaten to ruin my reputation or the legacy I intend to leave, the culture I've spent my life serving. I will meet these false allegations and any frivolous lawsuit filed against me with all the tools that the law provides. My attorneys will be handling it from here. It has been a difficult few months for my family and I, and as we fought the false claims made against me. But I will continue my work to uplift and serve the culture and community. For more of Lady Luck's Own Words, please visit www.ladylucksownwords.com. Whoo, child. Hold on one second. Let me add just a little bit more to the conversation. I read his whole statement. Kevin says Luck Team contacted him several weeks ago about the $30 million threat. They published a tell-all book, unauthorized tell-all book, claiming he once tried to shove Lady Luck's face into his crowds for some unauthorized oral. That's her. I read the statement to you. Nonetheless, Lyles said he's armed with plenty of evidence of Lady Luck publicly praising their relationship and is adamant their dealings never got inappropriate. That is her. So there you have it. Felicia, your thoughts?
Diva, what did I do bad today that I had to sit through 7 paragraphs of BS? But why? What I do?
Ooh, listen, we in mad overtime here. What's up?
I thought the first 2 paragraphs would have been sufficient. When he went in and attacked her, brought up her criminal record, she's a this and she's a that, he went on. And the one thing I noted that he didn't write, that he serves a God, a greater God than he, and that he's sorry that we got to this place. hopefully they'll be able to reconcile and come to some kind of peaceful agreement. There was none of that. It was all that bravado and all of that nasty stuff he said about her that I thought was unnecessary. He could have just said that, it was without merit. And, his lawyers will handle it from here out. Sometimes less is best. Yep.
Yeah.
So now I came away with, she got a story to tell. So I'll wait for her book.
Wayne, your thoughts?
I think something may have happened. Maybe first beginning, early on the meeting and something like that, consensual. Maybe one time it's like, no, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Then, he looks at her like a stepdaughter, all this other kind of stuff, So I do think possibly, but now with the record she got, all this stuff, if you can go in and rob a bank, and you know what can happen when you rob a bank, I think you have no problem at this point, 26 years later, after you hear everybody getting sued and getting money, all this, I definitely believe she could have done this and made up this story. I firmly believe it. I just believe it. I think she got in prison, learned some things. She'd already been on the mushrooms, all this, all that. Hey, you can go in and rob a bank and get some money. I think you can extort somebody. That's it.
Katrina, your thoughts? I don't know. Katrina has an audio trouble today.
Hear me, Diva?
Yes, I can.
Is it a feedback?
No, it's better.
Okay, good. I'm with Wayne and Felicia. I'm surprised these people even got brain cells, because every last one of them have did substances, and I'm not saying people with substance abuse, is bad people whatsoever. But if this is what y'all have to do to be in this industry, I think y'all need to find a different job. I mean, because we hear these cases, every case about an entertainer, some kind of way the substance is somewhere involved in it. And now they coming back with these court cases, with this and that. And we sympathize, don't get us wrong. But y'all wait all this time, and then you come back, 15, 10, 11 years later? And she was a good rapper, but sometimes it just takes more than that. So we will see how her lawsuit goes, along with the rest of them, because we're going to have a whole line of people with lawsuits. But that's all I got, Diva.
Thank you. Julius, your thoughts?
Have mercy, Lord. I felt like Cassie undid the annoying floodgates, because Lord have mercy. Okay, now that I got that out the way. If this did happen to her, okay, she deserves restitution and all of that. Okay? Now, if that didn't happen to her, we deserve restitution for reporting on this mess. Okay, I said it. Now, yeah.
Thank you, guys. Listen, guys, I appreciate y'all for being here. It was a long night. It was a long night, but we are hung in there, I guess, because I didn't work last night. We ran into overtime tonight, but I appreciate y'all. Y'all know the routine. If you didn't hit that like button on the way in, hit it on the way out. We're going to stay connected to this Diddy case. The prosecution is, they may rest their case earlier. And someone asked me earlier in the chat, who do I think that Diddy's team is going to bring up on the stand? I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I have no idea who they're bringing up as a witness. And I do know this, Diddy ain't going to get on that stand. But if he was smart, I wouldn't get on the stand either, not in his particular case, because he ain't ready. And the reason why I know he ain't ready and he can't get on nobody's stand is because when you came to turn yourself in, all of that stuff they found in your hotel room, he ain't ready. But listen, guys, thanks for being here. Hit that like button. I'll see you on the next video. Good night. Goodbye, everybody. Choo-choo.
Good night, chat.